power comes great responsibility.
What is thy bidding, my master?
So, ladies and gentlemen, what is up, and welcome to today's first episode of Nerd Alert. Our nerd discussion tonight will be pre-D&D, featuring a battle between the Amazing Spider-Man and a Dark Lord of the Sith, Darth Vader. Repping Spider-Man tonight, Don, Steve, and Brett. And into the dark side, we have Kevin, Dan, and Brian, with your hosts, myself, Joe T.
Pew pew.
It's Thwip.
Yeah,
it's Thwip. You already lost. So tonight we will have a rational discussion.
What?
No interrupting. And the first team to get 3 points will win the discussion and the battle between Darth Vader and Spider-Man. Are our teams ready?
Points don't matter.
Yeah.
And,
It's like
Points don't matter and...
so
Who's on?
So for this, for the very first discussion between Darth Vader and Spider-Man, I'm going to set the location, and the two teams can battle out to see who would win in this particular scenario. So the first one would be the setting is in space. You are in the Death Star, and neither opponent know where each other are on the Death Star. Darth Vader does have his lightsaber on him, of course, and begin.
Well, being that they're on the Death Star, Vader knows the Death Star, and he can actually sense a powerful being, which would be Spider-Man.
Yeah, but he can the Force.
That's true.
Yes, Spider-Man has no force.
But is do not interrupt.
No one interrupting. Not interrupting. Fuck not interrupting. They were done. Go ahead.
Was his spider sense? Could that be force?
That is not his.
So here's if they were to come in contact with each other, Spider-Man wouldn't have the ability to evade like he would in an open city.
It's true. It's a tight corridor.
It's a tight corridor.
The Death Star had big. Giant
They literally have hangar bays full of
Yeah.
Fighters.
Yes, you're right. But why would
he hang out there?
Yeah.
Case in point, in the last Star Wars movie, the room that Vader throws Palpatine down in is a very large room with plenty of evasion opportunities.
Yeah, but that's the throne room.
Which
Yeah, well,
one room.
even that
know
room
where the
where
battle's
Obi-Wan
gonna be.
like shut down the reactor,
Yeah.
that was wide open.
Okay, if you want to bring up Obi-Wan, Darth Vader and Obi-Wan's last duel was not in a big room.
That was not, but why would Spider-Man just confine
Because
himself?
Spider-Man doesn't know where he is.
Wasn't it in like the fighter bay?
yeah,
No,
that was
no,
a
they
fairly
were-
big
they were
room.
in a hallway.
It wasn't until they opened the door and everyone was like, "What's going on?"
Yeah, and they all stopped and watched.
It wasn't like they were in a close-up.
Yes, they were. They were in a hallway.
Yeah,
They were in a hallway for most of the
First
fight.
engage.
But it still gave Spider-Man room to navigate a little bit. And he could have, if he came into contact with Vader in that corridor. Spider-Man's smart enough, he's not going to just be like, yeah, let's go fist to fist. I know about lightsabers. You're not going to be able to cut my hand off.
How does he know about lightsabers?
He just said they don't know anything about each other.
No,
did
but
say
if he's
that.
on the Death Star, I'd imagine.
I didn't say they
he
don't
has
know anything about each other. I said that they do not know where they are on the ship.
He's got in this scenario, he's got to have a basic understanding of what a Star Wars setting is.
What a Star Wars is.
Yeah.
Endgame.
He did mention Star Wars.
He mentioned
In
Star Wars,
Civil War.
He mentioned Alien. He's mentioned all of these things.
In Civil War, he brought up Star
So he got like pulled into a interdimensional vortex, knowing everything he knows
Hey, they're
from
both
the movies.
They're both owned from.
I would
Ooh,
assume
that's
that
too much
Darth
knowledge.
Vader knows
That is way too much knowledge.
But
Let's talk about Darth Vader's use of Force. Obviously, he's an expert at using the Force.
Yeah.
He's one of the best to ever have lived.
He's actually
In
more
combat-
connected to the Force than Anakin.
In combat, he is very difficult to avoid. He's very effective, and his use of Force helps him do that. Now, of course, you could make the counter argument, oh, well, Spider-Man has spider sense. He can avoid and evade Darth Vader. But if you go to the cartoons, if you go to the movies, you go to the comics, how often does Spider-Man go, oh my god, my spider sense is tingling, and he gets fucked up? All the time. It will not save him from Darth Vader.
his spider sense, unlike Vader's force power, does give him an early warning to what Vader's
Not true.
doing.
And then he gets
I
hit.
thought we weren't doing interruptions. And unlike Vader, Spider-Man is, you could argue, is one of the best Marvel heroes at infiltration. One of the sneakiest. It's hard to argue against that. So it's very likely that Spider-Man would get the jump on Vader wherever he is in the ship.
Is it plausible that Spider-Man could get the jump on Vader? No. Not with his force. No, you can't.
So,
I wouldn't be able to get that.
as tonight's host, the way we're going to move forward with this conversation, being that the setting has been placed and you all have talked about it, Team Vader, please come up with 3 rational reasons for why you think Vader will win. Team Spider-Man, please also come up with 3 reasons why you believe Spider-Man will win, and then based on the strength of your reasons, I will decide who will get the first point.
Can I make a first point?
One each.
No, hold on.
Okay, so
Each of us has to come up with
So
this.
Discuss.
No,
you can pause and
Or you can just talk.
No, I don't want them hearing my shit. Lightsaber. One hit. They're going to miss.
But they're saying about Spider-Man. Vader has literally the same thing. It's called precognition.
Well, his is better.
It's you can't sneak up.
Yes, exactly. That's what I'm saying. You can't
He
sneak
has
up on him.
precognition. You can't sneak up. on him.
Can't.
He can cast shields like Android 17, where he pops a bubble
I
on.
didn't know he could do that.
Vader can do that. Vader can enhance his speed with the Force. Plus his cybernetics. Plus his cybernetics make him faster and super strong.
He's not going to be a strong Spider-Man.
No,
I wouldn't make that. I wouldn't make that argument.
There's no way. he'd be
Spider-Man
strong.
will win the strength.
Strength for strength.
Spider-Man will.
Straight up strength for strength. Spider-Man wins. Speed.
If you throw the Force into it.
I will give everybody 2 minutes.
Yeah, but I'm not going to strike by Spider-Man wins. But that lightsaber, again, he's got all that skill with the Force. He's got the precognition. All he's got to do is Spider-Man hasn't dead. Okay.
His arm stuck.
Here's the hold on.
How about this?
No.
Dead.
This is all it needs.
That should be your argument.
That is my argument.
Make
That's all
that.
it needs.
I'm gonna say. I'm gonna talk about the
Spider-Man can do this all he
lightsaber. Talk about
wants.
that.
Vader just does this. He squeezes his throat. It's over.
I don't know. You guys.
It's so fun.
You guys know more about Star Wars than me.
I fucking love Star Wars.
I hate it. We're good. We're running out of time. Don't talk about that. What's your point gonna be?
What was yours? The lightsaber.
The lightsaber, one shot.
And then his Force abilities. And then mine is experience.
And also,
Spider-Man in battle.
And also, Darth Vader fights to kill. Spider-Man does not.
So that'll be part of
that.
He kills his own guys. He doesn't
He
give
doesn't
a
give a
fuck.
fuck.
I want to be Darth Vader. No, because he's in constant pain.
He will show zero mercy.
Well, that helps him.
He's not going to ask us what are you doing here. He's just going to fucking kill him.
He killed his master.
He doesn't give a
you
fuck.
killed your master.
Not yet.
Buki?
Okay, so the way that we're going to do this, Kevin, please roll a d20, and you please roll a d20.
9 and 6.
9
You
and
got higher,
6.
Kevin.
So as the team with the highest roll, you guys,
I like to go second.
You want to go second. Okay. So, first person up, Steve. Please bring your point, and it will be contested by one of theirs.
Okay, so I'm going to bring up my point. Whereas Vader is very strong in the Force. He's a very strong Star Wars character. He has never once faced an actual being with superhuman strength and speed. Spider-Man can actually run up to 200 miles per hour. He has increased resilience, and he actually pulls his punches to avoid killing people. He could easily, just as other Force users can escape out of a Force choke, his durability and strength.
Wait,
could
say
easily,
that last part.
It's not your turn.
No, I'm asking you to
repeat
repeat
it.
yourself. The thing about the Force joke I didn't hear.
Force users can break out of like Force holds.
Yeah, with
Yeah.
the Force. Oh.
We're not arguing. Let him make his point.
Yeah,
No, I didn't hear it. That's why I just asked.
Don't worry, I'll do it on your turn. Spider-Man is conceivable that he could equally, with his strength and durability, break out of a Force choke and strike a Vader.
So your point is, being the natural strength that he has, even if the Force is applied to him, he will be able to break out of it.
Correct.
Okay.
And if he closes in on Vader, Vader has no defense.
Okay. And not a rebuttal to this. What is your reason for why do you feel like Vader would win in a fight? Brian, you can go.
Okay, so mentioned Vader has been fighting for what, 40 years and has slaughtered thousands of people. Spider-Man isn't a killer, and he pulls his punches. He's not going to try to kill Vader. Vader is going to try to kill Anakin. Spider-Man. Peter Parker. He's going to try to kill him, and that's what he does. He kills. He kills everything. He doesn't give his own men. He has experience. He's fast. He's
not
strong. His cybernetics give him superhuman strength.
Not equal to Spider-Man.
Not equal. I didn't say that. I just said it was.
But he
superhuman
also
strength.
has what he was alluding to with the speed, he has his cybernetics give him
And then force
superhuman
dash.
speed, and he has the force that increases his speed as well.
And he's adept in all forms of saber combat, so he's been training his whole life. Spider-Man's just a melee fighter. He's just swinging. He's not trained.
So for this particular one, I'm going to give the first point to Team Vader over here. I do not feel, as the moderator, that sheer strength alone will be able to break somebody out of the Force.
You don't know the power of the dark side.
So now we're going to go on to rebuttal number 2, and Dan.
Okay. So what my point's going to revolve around is going to be the sheer effectiveness of Darth Vader's weapon of choice, the lightsaber. Again, Darth Vader, as a Force user, he's an expert with the lightsaber. There are few that have ever existed in the Star Wars universe that are comparable with his skill with the lightsaber. As a weapon, he strikes Spider-Man with that lightsaber. Spider-Man is fucking done. He's dead. It's over. Spider-Man has agility. Spider-Man has speed. Spider-Man has strength. Spider-Man has his webbing, which is a great utility weapon. It's been proven throughout the Spider-Man universe that it's a Marvel universe. It's a very strong, difficult to break weapon. But that lightsaber is gonna melt right through that shit. It will be completely useless and ineffective. Just like Peter Parker's durability is basically doesn't even exist. One shot, he's fucking done. It's over. And again, with Darth Vader's skill, his ability to use the Force to grab someone to hold them, even if it's only for a moment, his precognition, he will hit Spider-Man with his lightsaber in that fight, and that fight is fucking over. Boom.
Vader precognition?
Done?
Yes, he
I'll
does.
take that. So you guys have said that Spider-Man is mostly a melee fighter. We brought in the extended universe. We brought in video games. So in Spider-Man video games, he has webbing that will be able to shoot out an EMP. And as you guys have said,
Is video games canon?
you just
There's
brought it up.
there's plenty of comic books. How come you keep interrupting us? On
Yeah, don't interrupt.
Yeah, so he
Yeah,
has,
that's fine.
he has
Get it.
weapons that will produce an EMP, which will disable any electronics around him. So, to your point that Vader is a mostly cybernetic organism with all 4 arms, if he's able to launch this EMP at a distance, which he is able to do with his weapon, it will effectively shut down Vader. I don't know if it would affect the lightsaber, I don't think so, but at least all of his movement from his legs, his arms, giving Spider-Man a significant advantage there. He can then tie him up with his webbing and just completely subdue him. He has many different uses of his webbing, including impact webbing, so even if Vader was able to catch him in a Force choke or something, I have never seen Vader completely immobilize a person. He usually goes for the choke, just kind of grabbing them in place, and the people are going and trying to grab their arms. Spider-Man takes his impact webbing, shoots Vader in the face, breaks the concentration, Spider-Man is out of that. His webbing is a very significant factor for him in this fight.
So based upon your arguments and the arguments of Dan, is definitely going to go to Team Spider-Man over here. The absolute utility of Spider-Man's webbings, as seen in him versus the Vulture in Homecoming, when he was unable to unlock all that stuff. There were different modes of what he was able to do. The utility of that, I would believe, defeats Vader with a lightsaber.
Go Web! Fly! Up and away, Web! Shazam! Go! Go! Go, Web, go!
So now going on to round number 3, Brett.
Vader has a stagnant mind.
Well, they mentioned that
Spider-Man doesn't.
Vader's an agile opponent, but Spider-Man has superhuman speed, so I think he would be able to get around Vader because he's still a cyborg and he won't be as agile as Spider-Man. And since they don't know where they are, we mentioned that Spider-Man's one of the sneakiest heroes, so he would probably be able to get the drop on Vader and take him down.
Okay, so your point is that using his ability to be quiet, his agility, and his speed, he'll be able to get the drop on Vader and attack first.
Mm-hmm.
And then based upon his attack, defeat Vader entirely.
Yep.
And your point, Captain?
Brian touched on his time as a warrior, his 40 plus years of fighting and training. He touched on his lightsaber abilities.
I thought you were supposed to bring something new.
Yeah.
I'm leading out. Okay.
I still got two more. Don't worry about it.
Darth Vader is a master of the Force. He has,
Not the
since
high ground.
losing his limbs,
That's true. Spider-Man get that high ground.
Please do not interrupt. Sorry.
Spider-Man does get the high ground because he sticks on ceilings.
We know how that
What
turned
was
out.
that your point? He's not moderator. He's heckling.
That was three. That was the same knock I did.
Sorry.
All right. His Force. He is more attuned to the Force than he was as Anakin Skywalker. Anakin Skywalker had a higher potential. Vader, since he lost his limbs, has more focus in the Force. His abilities include precognition, which equals the same as a spider sense. He can actually cast a defensive bubble, same as Android 17 does. He can. Yes, he can. I did research, Donald.
So
He has faced down. He has faced down a battalion of rebel fighters by himself and beat them with a lightsaber.
so
With
before
that,
bef-
none of them had superhuman strength.
before you continue, so far you've only touched on the points that Dan and both Brian had made, but you haven't made your own point about why Vader would beat him because of X.
He has the Force ability
He
to
talked
pull.
about the
no,
Force.
no, he didn't.
About
He talked about his experience and his speed and his strength. He has the Force ability to pull a starship out of the sky. I don't believe that Spider-Man is strong enough to fight against that kind of power.
Starship is not if I may, Starship is not a living being. It has nothing that would be able to contest against that.
We're allowed to debate the points
As
like
we've
this?
said,
No, it's all right.
as
So,
we've said
Doug,
with Force users, they can.
So, are you saying that Spider-Man has the strength to leave orbit?
So your argument is
I wasn't
What
done.
I'm saying is that like, I'm trying to say you bring one thing to the table so why he wins. So are you talking about the
His argument that his force
the
is
ability to
strong.
use the Force?
Yeah. His argument is that Spider-Man cannot break Vader's force based on the history of Vader's
The
force.
abilities that he has,
That Spider-Man cannot break.
he has Force push. He has destroyed creatures that skin was so strong that it could deflect blaster fire. He has hit them with a Force push and it actually ripped their armor off of their bodies. And this is armor that's grown like a lizard scale.
All right. So your point to why Vader would win is the ability to use the Force and the way he's mastered it.
Spider-Man pops out and he just has to put on a Force choke.
Well, you don't have to convince me. I'm just saying that you're using the ability of the Force.
Is more powerful than Spider-Man's strength.
Okay.
He has pulled an AT-AT apart by himself. Those are the big like dog walker thingies. He has lifted two of them that have fallen on top of him. He's lifted them up off of him without even straining. His
So, Brett,
Yeah.
your reply?
no, I remember replying to him.
Oh, you're replying to him.
Brett said that Brett's point was that Spider-Man was used his stealth and his speed to get the drop on Vader. That was Brett's point.
And my
Kevin's point
is
was
that he has the Force and he has
his Force
precognition
abilities are too strong
and his
for,
Force
Spider-Man to beat.
abilities is way too strong.
So, can you, in order for me to side with you, I need a particular instance where he actually used precognition.
You can't use your phone. This is a
Can't
debate.
look it up. Yeah, you can't.
okay,
Because you claim I don't know Star Wars as well as you do, so I would need a particular instance that you can say where it was proven that he had precognition. Because we know
Luke had the drop on him, and he came after him in Return of the Jedi. He had the drop on him, and he was able to turn around and block the lightsaber.
Luke was aware. Vader was aware of Luke's presence.
But Luke could hide his presence.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he
He was
could.
able to read the entire thoughts. Oh, you have a sister. He was reading Luke's thoughts,
He didn't know where
That was
Luke
after
was.
he got upset.
but he was aware that he was there. Brett's point.
But he
is
was
that
looking-
complete stealth.
Is Brett and Kevin debating, or is Don debating with Kevin? I'm confused on what's going on.
What's more deadly, a fucking Spider-Man or a lightsaber?
Well, I mean, in that argument, Spider-Man or a lightsaber.
Okay, a Force wielder with a lightsaber.
No, lightsaber.
Vader didn't know where he was until Luke jumped out and tried to hit
So,
him.
all right, so we're getting off topic. So
I don't
we
remember
know
this.
that Spider-Man has speed,
It's
agility,
Return of
and
the
the
Jedi.
ability to drop on Vader. So my question is that is there something that you can definitively say was proven that the Force is the reason that Darth Vader was able to use precognitive abilities to sense where somebody was? Because Spider-Man has that ability. That is a proven ability of Spider-Man.
Were you just saying that Vader was reading the surface thoughts of Luke?
But then he just said that he did not know where Luke was, and Luke got the drop on him. So you're saying it wouldn't.
Yeah, but then he blocked
but he blocked it.
Please.
If Vader's reading,
blocked
if
it.
Vader can read the surface thoughts of the people around him, why wouldn't he be able to read Spider-Man?
He's a pilot.
Essentially what I'm asking for
I'm explaining. I know what you're saying.
I don't know.
He is considered one of, if not the best pilot when he was Anakin. And as Darth Vader... What?
I'm talking to Dan.
I don't know Star Wars well.
And he had his the ability to know when shots were coming, and he was able to dodge and get through. What am I?
I find that untrue because in the first movie, isn't Vader shot down when they're in Canyon Run or Trench Alley?
Yeah, because he's focused on Luke.
But if he was focused on something else, wouldn't his precognition warn him that a shot is coming?
From Han Solo.
Don't you think that there might be an issue there with the distance, considering they're in outer space and they're probably
You can't say that
hundreds or thousands.
You
of
can't say
kilometers
there's
away from each
you can't
other?
say there's an issue with distance
There
and then
is
try
a
to bring up
time.
the fact that he's a pilot.
All right, wait, hold on. I got a
I think there's
question.
a
Why would
difference between
Spider-Man
Spider-Man
get the
being
drop,
the drop
on Darth
and
Vader?
a ship that's
Why would
thousands
he
of
even attack
kilometers
him if
away
he didn't know what
shooting
was
a
going on?
laser beam at him? I think there's a little bit of a difference
All he
there.
said was that they don't know where each other are, not that they don't know.
fighting.
It's not the same situation.
So you're asking like.
So
a-
so the way the scenario is, they do not know where they are,
But they know of each other.
They know of each other. So does Darth Vader have cognitive ability? Yes or no? And if he does, can you give me a particular instance where it was used in a movie or book or whatever?
Well, you're asking. You never
It's
asked
got-
them for specific.
Kevin Bryan, you got to step
But
up.
this
I
is
don't
this
know.
is this is the
Well,
last question, and you're making you're making a claim about
I-
something that I don't know. So
I can
He's
give you.
piloting.
I said that already, and then he said that Han Solo shot him out of the Darth Vader the trench.
He was focused on hitting.
That's a,
If he's not,
you are twins.
So then it's not a precognitive if he has to be focused on it. If he's got to actively use it, it's not warning him when he's not aware of something.
Oh, actually, Han Solo didn't shoot him.
yes, he did.
No, he didn't. He shot the TIE
he
fighter
shot the
next
TIE
to
fighter
him,
behind him
and
in
the
the-
TIE fighter hit him.
That's true.
So he couldn't dodge
Then you
that.
have
is true.
precognition that
He
the TIE
couldn't
fighter-
dodge
There
that.
wasn't
intent.
intent. Dodge a
There
whole
wasn't
ship
intent.
coming at you.
There wasn't intent there.
They
to
were
shoot
in
Darth
a
Vader.
freaking.
All right, here's the
beam.
laser beam. Is the size of my finger.
Just
A
to
ship
quote
is the
Darth
size of a ship.
Just to quote Darth Vader. What?
That was when he got hit with those.
I understand what that's from. But he
And also,
Vader does have
no.
precognition, but not to the degree that he's talking about. He had cognition that his mother would die and that Padme would die. He did
well,
not
he's
know
also
how.
fast
But he
enough to
had
stop a
dreams about
fucking
them
laser bolt.
months.
Yeah, exactly. He's fast enough to
There's
stop a
nothing-
laser bolt.
Huh?
He's fast enough to
Han
stop a laser.
Solo pulled a fucking gun on him. Bam! And he was able to go and block it.
Watching him.
So can.
So are you saying that you could dodge someone shooting something? And hold on.
I'm not claiming to
Hold
be
on.
Darth Vader.
Hold
or
on.
Spider-Man.
No. Are
Wait
you
a minute,
saying
whoa. Spider-Man can do that too.
Yeah, he's done that multiple
It
times.
takes the average person half a second to react. That was less than half a second.
across a table this size?
No, it's longer than this.
Not by
Why would
much.
you bring an average? Neither one of these people are average. You can't bring
Well,
that.
I'm just
into
saying that
the-
shows that he has precognitive abilities if he's able to react quicker than the average
Not
person.
really. It's not precog if you're just reacting to something. If you're reacting to something,
Was
it's
it
not
reacting?
precog.
Was it reacting?
Reacting
Or
to
did he
something
really-
like
it's
this?
gonna happen.
First
Yeah, that's
Spider-Man
exactly what it is.
With Tobey
Alright,
Maguire.
So you're saying
We know
that
he's
he's not fast enough
We
to
know
use
he's
reactions?
Okay.
You're saying he's not fast enough to
We
use reactions?
also
I just said that.
So, sorry. So as the moderator, I'm gonna move
usually
forward now.
his
I lost the debate because Joe asked a question where I had to name. They never asked them the same question.
Well, I understood what your questions were because you started off with force and then it turned into precognitive.
That's a
ability.
force ability.
All right. So is it Darth Vader's ability to use the force or Darth Vader's ability to have precognitive ability?
The precognitive ability is from the force.
Okay, so it's just the force then.
mastery of the force gives you a multitude of different abilities.
So your argument then is the force. You could have just said it's the force.
I gave you a list of things
So-
that he could do with the force.
So it's the force?
Yeah.
Okay, in this particular instance, I do believe that Vader would beat him with the force
Thank
over
you.
his ability to just get the drop.
Thank you.
Can I make a?
I don't think that cognitive ability would have stopped the
Then what?
fact that
Oh, no.
Spider-Man would have gotten the drop.
No, I believe that Spider-Man could have gotten the drop, but he's not going to lay any kind of blow.
There's no escape. Don't make me destroy you.
Well, that's
He could
first,
surprise him,
that's-
but Vader's
that's the
not gonna
first-
get taken
That's
out.
the first round. That's the first round. First round. So,
Shit, I just blew my load.
Right. That is the first round. So Team Vader has point number 1. Okay?
Yeah, we do.
Moving
I
on.
really important point to make.
Okay, you can look in the next one. So this is scenario number 2.
many
Both
scenarios
fighters.
are there?
First team to get the 3 points, you guys have one.
We're not going to start.
We're not gonna have 3D at all.
Yeah.
So just next time, just get quicker to the points and move on.
All right, yeah, no debate.
The Force,
This
okay.
time, no debate. That debate portion.
Scenario number 2, you are in New York City. You are now on Spider-Man's home turf. Darth Vader is standing on top of a building, and Vader knows.
How high is the building? Are they buildings around it?
Twin tower.
Oh, he's
you know
on
what?
top of the highest
You know what?
building.
You know what? One of them is on one twin tower when it was still standing, and the other one is on the other side.
And they're looking at each other?
They're looking at each other.
Oh.
Yeah.
You want to go right to the points here?
Yeah. So roll to see who goes first.
Roll for initiative.
Essentially.
Go ahead. Or lost my good roll for the night. Get to D&D. It's like 16.
So would you like to go first or second?
Yeah, we'll go second.
Second.
I'll start.
Right, fine.
All right, so in the last round, Brian brought up a point about basically killer instinct, and I'm going to piggyback on that. I'm going to bring this up. I think this also applies to this scenario where I'm going to bring up 2 specific examples of the same kind of situation, showing why Darth Vader would have the huge advantage over Spider-Man. So in the animated cartoon for Spider-Man, consistently, Spider-Man would struggle against opponents that were weaker than he was. The reason being, he doesn't have that killer instinct. He doesn't want to kill his opponents. And that's also why he continuously fights Scorpion, the Lizard, etc., over and over again, because he beats them and then he like takes them to jail or just like lets them get away. But guys, I'm making it be quiet. So, there was a specific instance where the symbiote, the creature that ends up possessing Eddie Brock and becoming Venom, gives Spider-Man the symbiote suit, and it's affecting his mental state. And he's acting in ways that He's acting in ways that he normally doesn't. He was fighting.
You have 50 seconds to get to your point.
He's fighting the Rhino and someone else, and the Rhino usually is his opponent that he has a really hard time with, but he was beating the shit out of the Rhino, and he took this big piece of wall and he was about to crush and kill him, and Rhino's like, "Oh, what are you doing? This isn't you," because he was so taken aback because Spider-Man doesn't have the killer instinct. Meanwhile, Darth Vader, when he was battling Obi-Wan in the Death Star, as soon as Obi-Wan dropped his guard, boom, dead, no mercy, boom, that's it.
Okay, so what's your point?
Was that a bad example?
There's like speculation that
You haven't made a point.
My point is, Darth Vader has the killer instinct.
His point is Spider-Man pulls his punches. Vader is to kill.
Vader will go for the kill. Spider-Man loses to people.
Vader has no problem killing his own men.
So
Vader loses to people. I'm sorry. Spider-Man loses to people weaker than himself.
Yep. All right.
Vader is going to go right for that kill.
Right.
There's
So-
no room for error for Spider-Man.
Right. So-
Vader can just kind of like whatever. Spider-Man's not really going to try to beat him. Not hard.
All right, so do me a favor though, and this is for everybody. Don't debate yourself. Just give me the reason why your opponent would win.
Why I give you examples
Why
to
is
explain.
the
When I give you the examples.
Killer instinct.
Killer instinct.
If I just say that, that's not enough.
we
I
already
give you the
presented
examples.
Killer instincts.
I give you
It's going to be the same. It's going to be the same examples for this one
I
too.
feel like it's going to be the same.
The fact that they see each other is
What I don't understand is why no one's used the actual playing field yet. But keep going.
All right.
no, their turn.
Oh, okay.
Give me a second. So I have 2 points.
Pick one.
Pick one.
All right.
Pick one that's
Somebody
strong.
use
You don't
this-
know what the third round's going to be, so.
Yeah. All right. So, using the actual terrain playing field, let's assume for a minute that Superman never wanted to kill anyone. Again, in Man of Steel, he had to kill Zod because it was either kill or be killed, right? So let's assume that Spider-Man knows it's kill or be killed.
We're not
Again,
assuming that.
Using his webbing from 2 separate buildings, he shoots another EMP, disabling Vader, can't move, uses his regular string webbing, and just goes off the building. Vader cannot survive a fall from the top of the screen.
Spider-Man would never do that.
He can.
He would never do that.
I like how we're quiet when you guys are talking.
My point is, could he do that? Yeah, he could. So the weapon
He could.
would outclass him in the scenario you set for us. EMP disables his entire suit, can't move. He uses string webbing and tosses him off the side of the building.
Could.
Okay.
All right.
Point you guys.
Yeah. Agreed.
Against
It's just
Dan's
presentation.
Yeah, kind of
The only thing Dan highlighted was that Spider-Man faces incredible odds and continuously overcomes them.
He loses to people weaker than him.
He doesn't lose though.
He doesn't lose, so thank you for
Spider-Man
pointing
does
that out.
lose. Spider-Man loses all the time.
He loses the first round.
He loses all the
first
time.
He loses the battle and wins the war.
Hey, listen. Some kind of mistake. I didn't sign up for a cage match. Hey, unlock the thing. Take the chain off.
Hey, freak show! You're going nowhere! I got you for 3 minutes! 3 minutes of lead time!
We're talking about one fight now.
Team Vader. Team Vader. Next.
Okay, so they're on the Twin Towers pre 9/11.
Pre 9/11, staring at each other. Hey, these were 90 movies.
All right, you want to go? I'm gonna do something silly. Is Vader by himself,
Yes.
or is there a Star Destroyer around?
No.
Okay, then I'm not gonna do something silly.
You're gonna Thanos and just.
No, because Vader's be like, he's over there, and then can shoot and destroy the building. All right, like we said in the first round, Vader has the power of the Force. He sees Spider-Man, and Spider-Man doesn't have the drop on him. Force choke.
Force choke.
And if
That's it. That's all you have to say.
That's all I have to say. No, because they're going to say, "Oh, we can shoot webs." Vader can block blaster bolts.
While choking someone?
Why not?
He's never done that.
Prove it.
Has there ever been a
This is not a
limitation
deb-
placed
this is
on
not a
his
debate.
force? Have they ever
Yeah,
stated
well,
it?
then we can argue
Not
that
a debate.
Spider-Man has never been choked by the Force before. So, like, how are we gonna know how he reacts?
So if they're standing face to face, even across a building, Vader can choke people over a TV screen.
This is a fact.
So Vader, all he has to do is and crush his fucking throat. If he tries to shoot his webs, Vader can deflect blaster bolts with a lightsaber. There's no way a blaster bolt is going to move it. I mean, a web shot is going to move as fast as a blaster bolt.
Okay. And Team Spider-Man.
Can I ask on that?
Nope.
Yeah, you're done. You can take this one, Brett.
All right. Well,
Don't intimidate him.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
stop.
I don't really know like how this starts if somebody just says go and then they start but
They know they have to fight each other.
all right. So as soon as they know they got to get it on, Spider-Man can run really fast. He can
Let's get it on.
he can run down the building out of Vader's line of sight, so Vader doesn't know where he is, and then he could go over to the other building, the Twin Tower, and then get the drop on him, and even like web him and throw him off. And Vader can't fly,
Okay.
as far as I know.
All right. And in this particular instance, it would go to Team Vader over here. I don't think that the ability to get the drop is that's already been passed.
They see each
each
other.
other across, and in this particular instance, with the ability of the Force, as proven in the last round, that Spider-Man is not strong enough to defeat the Force on his own. Team Vader gets that point.
Isn't that
If you only knew the power of the dark side.
kind of like a weighted scenario in favor of Vader?
And
Yeah,
hence
but
I-
last
hence I
scenario
put
was
the
weighted in
scenario
favor.
the way it is.
What?
Hence I put the scenario the
how
way
this
it is.
format is.
D&D.
Yeah.
Team Vader.
Just make a decision who wins because I want to start playing Dungeons and
Yeah.
Dragons.
Team Vader.
Okay, fine. Vader doesn't sit and wait for someone to come to him. He's an aggressive person, so he can jump really far. So he can make the attack on Spider-Man. If Spider-Man wants to try to evade, he has the Force powers. He can throw stuff at him. He can pick up.
Force is already used.
Yep. It's part of his attack, though.
Vader can attack with his saber and
Are you-
attack
are you-
with the Force.
Are you
as
doing
well.
it or is Brian going?
So using his tactics, he's going to attack straight on, and then while Spider-Man's focused on him, he can pull, I don't know, garbage, whatever they got on the top of the building, and pull the spotlights off, the radio tower, and throw that stuff at
The
Spider-Man.
Force ability was already used.
That's part of his.
It's tactics.
No, I understand.
Melee
I'm
attack.
talking about a point
Tactics.
for the Force. So
But no, like when he's fighting against Luke on the first time they fought, he literally doesn't have to go like this.
Are you
and pull
arguing
something.
again? You get to argue the whole time?
It's Brian's turn. Be quiet.
Well, I'm not arguing Force power. I'm saying that would be his. I'm talking tactics now. So he's going to have Spider-Man getting hit from all sides, and while he's coming at him with the lightsaber, and that lightsaber cuts through anything. It's been proven.
okay.
The Spider-Man gets touched by it, he can't stop it. It's not like a regular blade. But I'm gonna stop my point there because I want to play Dungeons and Dragons.
And Team Spider-Man.
Same.
Okay, so to rebuttal this argument where Vader jumps across open ground and throws stuff at him, or if you're not gonna say that anyway, there's multiple instances, not just in the movies but in the comics, when things are thrown at Spider-Man, he literally just throws them back with his webbing. And if Vader's gonna dodge that and maintain his force to land properly, and have Spider-Man then continuously follow up and attack him is not gonna work. And depending on what suit Spider-Man is wearing, to go back to Killer Instinct, if he is wearing the symbiote suit, there is no way he doesn't shoot to kill.
Well, we're talking symbiote Spider-Man.
Is it your turn?
Excuse me.
Is it your turn? And just the fact that he's got a lightsaber is a powerful weapon, yes, but you still have to hit something with it. And Spider-Man is not just going to let you hit him without killing you.
And these are all points proven in the third Spider-Man movie, where he jumps off of a building trying to grab Gwen Stacy, and he's dodging things the entire time.
There's that. There's when Doc Ock throws the piece of the clock tower at him.
So
he
this
grabs it,
particular
throws it back.
instance, it's going to be Team Spider-Man, and they get 1 point.
I'm Spider-Man.
All right, so we ended the tie. Let's play Dungeons and Dragons.
Saber and control of the Force.
I want to say that symbiote
Alright,
Spider-Man
it's
is a
over.
different character because
And the
symbiote
symbiote
Spider-Man
might shoot Darth Vader.
So there's gonna be one last thing. The two of you guys, if you want to, split up in groups. I just need one last rebuttal to why your opponent would win.
That's it. The Force.
Yeah,
That's
Kevin,
your thing?
just argue the
All right,
force.
I'll go with the webbing then. And even though they've said, okay, he can choke and do something else at the same time, I've never seen any force user do two force powers at the same time. So choking and blocking a web power, like.
It's stated in the canon.
I said he could block it with his saber.
Well, I mean, he shoots an EMP grenade next to him. It's going to blow up and cut his concentration. He's
And you're relying very heavily on this obscure power that I've never
Yeah,
seen.
the EMP.
You're relying your arguments are relying very heavily on that.
No,
on
not really. His suit that Tony Stark gives him in Homecoming also has EMP webbing.
Yeah.
Now, how does the EMP work when it's
This is
sliced
obscure
in half
power.
by a
You're relying
saber?
very heavy on it. I'm just saying.
It might still go off, but all right.
It might not go off.
So
Might not.
So webbing versus the Force.
I said the Force. He said webbing.
So is between the collective three of you your primary point webbing?
It sounds like it is.
I guess so. Don already said it.
Sounds like it is.
I wouldn't really.
Yeah,
I wouldn't really change
force
it.
meets webbing.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Bum, 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 bum.